In one of the scenarios that we discussed in part 9 of this series, we said, "My boss wants me to work late." The first question that we would want to ask is, who else will be there? Because being alone with a man or woman that is not our husband or wife is setting ourselves up for failure and maybe even disaster. Remember, friends, these same principles apply if you're single. We're looking at this today as it deals with workplace safety, the sanctity of marriage, and our work as being a blessing from God. In 1948, when Reverend Billy Graham held a series of evangelistic meetings in Modesto, California, the Modesto Manifesto, also known as the Billy Graham Rule, had its beginning. It is a code of conduct among some male evangelical Protestant leaders in which they avoid spending time alone with women to whom they are not married. It has been adopted as a display of integrity, a means of avoiding sexual temptation, and to avoid any appearance of doing something considered morally objectionable. This is a stand that Mr. Brayman and I have taken throughout our courtship and marriage. One scripture that we often share when questioned about our stand in faith is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 22. Abstain from every form of evil. The King James Version says, abstain from all appearance of evil. We tend to appreciate that version as it points to the fact that something only has to appear as evil for it to be abstained from. Some synonyms for abstain are refuse, reject, and decline. In a general sense, abstain means to forbear or refrain from, voluntarily, but it is used chiefly to denote a restraint upon the passions or appetites, to refrain from indulgence. Please see Webster Dictionary 1828.com. Well, this is a great time to welcome everyone to the channel today. If you're new here or you didn't know, I'm Mrs. Brayman, your hostess. Please enjoy our message as we continue on with the series, Honoring the Lord Through Our Marriage and Family. We're in part 12. If any of us were to stay late for work and alone with someone of the opposite sex, this would be enough to be considered by biblical standards the appearance of sin. This is something that we truly want to avoid, as it will tarnish our reputation and relationship with our co-workers, family, and the Lord Himself. One late night after work can lead to one more, then to lunch dates, and maybe a weekend business trip. The next thing you know, you find yourself in a place that you never dreamed of, and people are gossiping about you on social media. Please consider these dangers, friends, when you are in the workplace. And please note, this is not something that has happened to Mrs. Brayman or Mr. Brayman, but we do know people who have been in these situations. The last time we got together, we discussed 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, verses 10 through 12 at length. One of the things the Apostle Paul said is that there are some who didn't work. Let us revisit verse 11. For we hear that there are some who walk among you in a disorderly manner, not working at all, but are busybodies. The Apostle Paul didn't say could not work at all, had no work at all, or lost their work. He qualified what was going on with these who were not working at all. They were walking in a disorderly manner, not working, being busybodies. And Paul sure did tell how it was, didn't he? You know, if we were to tell people that today, they may say some really not nice things to us or lash out at us in other ways. Something that we often fail to see are the blessings that we lose by refusing or choosing not to work. In Psalm 128, verse 2, we are told that when you eat the labor of your hands, you shall be happy, and it shall be well with you. This ties back to what we have said previously concerning the things that make us happy, our vocation being one of them. How can we claim that we have a vocation and a desire for happiness if we won't even work? Friends, each family will have to decide what kind of work they will do and how much they will do. As always, the best way to make these decisions is to go to the Lord in prayer and ask Him what His desires are for your family. And please note, we have discussed previously about a wife being a homemaker as a vocation. And we all know that for any homemakers, we do work very hard. So we are not discussing that as far as, quitting your job, I guess. But we would want to be careful to take the Apostle Paul's counsel, because many times when we are home, we may find that we don't have as much to do as we could, or we may choose not to work when we could, and then we find ourselves being busybodies or calling up a friend and maybe gossiping, or scrolling on social media these days is more common. And those things are kind of the plight of the homemaker, if you will. So that is something I want to caution anyone that is staying at home and taking care of their family. So the next question we ask here is, does God really care what I do for work? Well, friends, we will come back and discuss that further next time. But for today, please consider this scripture in Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 19. As for every man to whom God has given riches and wealth, and given him power to eat of it, to receive his heritage and rejoice in his labor, this is the gift of God. What if I'm a poor man, you may ask? Well, come back next time and we will discuss this question also. Thank you so much for taking the time to stop by and spend some of your day with us. Please share this information with others, tell them about the channel and this series, Honoring the Lord Through Our Marriage and Family. Next time, we will continue answering these 2 questions and discussing vocations. Have a wonderful week, friends, and as always, you are in our prayers.